Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing a book haul for you guys. I didn't do one in June because I basically just had my book of the month books and I was also sort of prioritizing other videos that I wanted to make. So I decided to just throw those books into this one. I usually don't have a lot of books to show off in the book haul. It's usually just like the book of the month books and then a couple of others. But now this month I have June's book of the month books plus July's, plus all of the other books I've acquired recently. So yeah, a lot of these are actually ones that you may have already seen. Some of these are ones that I've posted on Instagram, but not all of them. And some of these are books that I've actually already read. So you may have already heard about them, or you may be hearing about them in my July wrap up. So yeah, let's just jump right in because there's a bunch of books here. So first up, I got Tarbaby by Toni Morrison. This is the next Toni Morrison that I plan on reading. If you aren't aware, I am reading Toni Morrison's books in publication order, but I don't have like a timeline for that. It's just sort of like as it happens. I read Song of Solomon earlier this year, so Tarbaby is next up on the list. I kind of want to get to this one in the fall, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, next Toni Morrison is here in my hand. I've also recently got Kingdom Cons by Yuri Herrera. I read Signs Preceding the End of the World in 2015, I want to say that one came out, and it was like one of the best books that I read that year. And then I read The Transmigration of Bodies last year, and I really enjoyed that one as well. And so this is his latest one that's been translated into English. It's translated by Lisa Dillman. All of his books are translated by Lisa Dillman, and I think she also just does a really fabulous job of translating it into English. So yeah, this one was just released, I believe, in like May or June, something along those lines, and I was at a bookstore and I saw that they had a copy, so I picked it up. Next up, I got a copy of Negroland by Margot Jefferson. I'm really excited about this one. I bought this one while I was in Las Vegas at the end of June. I went to a bookstore in Las Vegas because I am the type of person who goes to bookstores while in Las Vegas. Yeah, if you watched my Read Harder Challenge video update, you may have seen me talk about this one a little bit because this is the one I plan on using for the read a book set within 100 miles of your location, because Margot Jefferson grew up in Chicago, and so this is a memoir about her time growing up in Chicago as like an affluent black person in the city. Next, I have Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, the untold story of Wu-Tang Clan's $1 Million Secret Album, the devaluation of music, and America's new public enemy #1. This is a book that I had no idea was coming out. Didn't hear anything about it really until a couple of people on Book Riot started talking about it, because I guess Flatiron Books sent them copies of it, and they were all like, this is not really a book I'm interested in. I don't understand why Flatiron Books sent it to me. And I was basically like, I'm interested in it. If you don't want your copy, please send it to me. So Liberty over at Book Riot had an extra copy, and so she said she would send me her finished copy, and so yeah, I got it, and I've already read it. I made a video over on Book Riot sort of talking about this book. I will link to that, but I'll be talking about this more in my July wrap-up. But yeah, I've already read it. I thought it was really interesting. Its writing is super like bro-y at times, but I find all things related to the music industry sort of fascinating. So yeah, this one was totally up my alley. Next up, I got The Moving Finger by Agatha Christie. I was at Open Books, which is a bookstore here in Chicago. They were doing their half off book sale that they do every year, and basically like everything in their store is half off, and they're a used bookstore, so it was like ridiculously cheap. Like this one is listed at $7, so I got it for, what is it, $3.50? Yeah, I've already read this one as well. I read this one while I was on vacation in Las Vegas, and yeah, it was good. It's a Miss Marple one. If you like Agatha Christie, you're going to like this one. I think this one's a little bit different than most Agatha Christie's because Miss Marple doesn't show up until the very, very end. Like, I went through this whole book being like, where's Miss Marple? And then she shows up in like the last chapter or so. So yeah, quick read, solid Agatha Christie in this edition that I love. And people always ask, and this is the Black Dog and Leventhal Publishers edition. That publisher, I believe, went out of business, and so I sort of just keep an eye out for these editions whenever I see them at used bookstores. So yeah, it's not hard to find these. They're all over like eBay and stuff like that. But yeah, I just mostly look out for them when I'm at used bookstores. And if I find one that I don't already own, I buy it. And then the other book that I got while at that same book sale was Deep Down Dark by Hector Tobar. The subtitle is The Untold Stories of 33 Men Buried in a Chilean Mine and the Miracle That Set Them Free. I read this book back in 2015 and I loved it, and I wanted to buy a copy of it, but I'm always so like hesitant. I don't like buying hardcovers, mostly just because of the price. So I was waiting for it to come out in paperback, and then when it came out in paperback, I hated the design of it. I mean, it's basically this kind of, but they changed the colors a little bit, so in my eyes it looked more obnoxious, and I was so upset, and I was like, man, I really don't want to buy this copy of the book. So I'd been avoiding buying this book, and then I saw that they had this one as a used copy at Open Books, and I was so excited that I immediately grabbed it. Anyways, this is a nonfiction book that covers the Chilean mine collapse that happened, I believe, back in 2014. Hector Tobar is a journalist for the LA Times, and so he traveled down to Chile to cover that, and this is just a really, really fantastic book that covers everything around that. Yeah, I highly, highly recommend it. This is one of the most readable nonfiction books I've ever read, and so if you are someone who is looking to read more nonfiction, this is a fantastic one to pick up. And then another book I recently got was Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. This is one that someone over at Book Riot had an extra copy of, and so they sent it my way because I yelled out that I wanted it. Yeah, I already did a full review on it. I really enjoyed this book. I will link to my review so you guys can check it out. But this is a mystery book that plays with and pays homage to the sort of British detective Agatha Christie style mystery. Yeah, it was really engaging, really great. Again, I will link to my review so you can hear more about it there. Okay, now finally all I have left are my Book of the Month books. So first I'm going to just briefly go over the ones that I got from the June box, and then I'll go over the ones I got for the July box. The first one I got was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I picked this one up because Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of Jenny from the former Adultish books, one of her favorite authors, and so when I saw that she was an option, I immediately picked hers. And this one I've already read as well. I liked it. I'll be talking again more about it in my July wrap up, but yeah, I read this one while on vacation, and so this is one of the ones I picked up. Another one I got was Chemistry by Weike Wang. I don't know how to say her first name. I apologize for that. I haven't read this one yet, and I don't know that much about it. I believe it's about this Chinese American girl who is in some sort of graduate science program, and she realizes that she might not necessarily love the thing that she's doing or something along those lines. Yeah, all I know is that basic premise, and also that it's a debut novel. So yeah, we'll see if I end up enjoying it. And then the other one I got was The Sister's Chase by Sarah Healy. Sorry. Again, don't know too much about this book because I try not to know too much about a book going into it, but I know that it's about this Chase family. It's a mother and two sisters, and the mother passes away, and then the two sisters are sort of forced to take care of each other. Okay, finally, the books I got from the July box. I almost dropped that book. The Windfall by Diksha Basu. Again, I've already read this one because this is another one I brought on vacation with me. I read a lot of books while on vacation because there wasn't a lot to do except sit around at the pool and read. Not that I'm complaining. Anyways, this is a Comedy of Manners book, and it was just a fun, light, perfect vacation beach read. Yeah, again, I will be talking about this one more in my July wrap up. Then I got Final Girls by Riley Sager. I don't know how to say this author's name. This is sort of the big buzzy mystery thriller book of the summer. A bunch of people have read it, and I think a bunch of people have picked this one for their July Book of the Month box. I haven't read it quite yet, but it's sort of at the top of my list. I want to get to this one sooner rather than later before the hype gets a little bit too big. Oh, I didn't even talk about what those were about. The first one, like I said, was a Comedy of Manners. It follows a family in India where the dad gets into a lot of money because he sells one of his websites, and it's sort of about them acclimating to a new life. And then Final Girls follows this girl whose friends have all died in sort of this horror movie style massacre, and she was the only one who survived. And she ends up joining the support group for other girls who have been in similar situations, and then suddenly it seems like the girls from that group are starting to die off. So yeah, it's meant to be a horror thriller sort of book. And then the final book I picked up was American Fire by Monica Hess. The subtitle to this is Love, Arson, and Life in a Vanishing Land. This is a nonfiction book, and it basically follows this period of time in rural Virginia where there were a bunch of arsons happening in this one town, and no one could really figure out why or how or who was doing it. So I think Monica Hess sort of investigates what was happening, and I believe that there's sort of this narrative about rural Virginia and the things that are happening in the United States in these sort of smaller rural towns. So yeah, that's all the books that I have to show off for you guys. Feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if you liked them or didn't like them. Obviously no spoilers, unless it's for one of the ones that I've already read. In that case, feel free to talk about them with me down in the comments below. Or if you have any questions about any of the books that I picked up. Obviously I don't do super deep synopsis of all the books because I generally don't know very much about books before I read them in terms of actual plot. I usually just know the general genre of them. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comment section. I'm always happy to answer whatever I can. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.